Okay, recently I just posted, guess what I just got? And I was showing like a package. So, what I got was my heritage DNA. So, I am doing my first DNA test. I was adopted when I was a baby. The story goes they found me outside of a bombed village, and myself and another baby who were the only survivors, we were taken to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, where there was a place called the Canada House, an orphanage, and myself and there was about 65 babies who were destined to go to Canada and be adopted. We had our legal papers already, so we had our landed immigrant papers. And so my friends would have been asking, like, why haven't you done this? And I never really thought to do it. Actually, I was told many, many times I should do it, but I never was, like, because I was told that everybody would be dead. So it's not like I was going to go and look for, you know, people that I didn't know or anything. And it was so foreign to me because I just grew up Canadian and Jewish. So I decided to do it because I'm writing a book about my life, of memoirs. And everybody says, you have to do it. It's a good conclusion for your book. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it. So I Googled, what test should I buy? What test should I buy to, I guess, reconnect if there's anybody in Cambodia. And what came up was an article in the Phnom Post. It was called Phnom Post, which is a newspaper in Cambodia. And I think she did it I think it said in October, the article was. And she was promoting that this woman was starting an organization, a charity, to help reconnect other Cambodians. She too was a Cambodian baby who was adopted, and she grew up in the UK. And during that period of time, there were war orphans from Vietnam and from Cambodia going to places like the United States, Australia, the UK, and Canada, where I went. And other people got separated. So some people got separated from their family. Some people, some parents or mothers who didn't know if their babies would survive from the war. And there was also a mass famine starting in 1974 during the war. So they couldn't feed their babies. So there was also a lot of people who abandoned or gave up their babies to the orphanage to try to give them a chance to survive. And the other ones, the babies were orphaned from their parents being killed either by the Khmer Rouge or some other way in the war. So I decided to contact, I never do this, but I emailed the contact on it. It had a link to the organization, the charity, and it was reconnectingcambodia.org. So I went to the website, checked it out. I emailed, and I got email like pretty much right away. I was like basically messaging my best friend and telling her all about it. And then I looked, I got an email right away. She emailed me right away. She was in the UK, so it's like really late. And I met a woman who also was adopted, and she went on a journey to go and find her birth parents if she could find them. And she made a documentary, and it's on YouTube, and I'll share the link. She also has a Facebook page, and I will share that link as well. And so I contacted her, and it's still pretty new, so she's got to find a way to connect other Cambodians. Now, if you or you know somebody from Cambodia, even if they're not from the war, if they want to do this DNA test, it's she's doing a charity where she's giving out free DNA tests for Cambodians to reconnect. You could find a third cousin. and we need to make this the pool bigger so we can find more people. So I'm on a mission to track down more Cambodians, more war orphans, people who were adopted, just like us. It's almost the 50th anniversary. So April 1975. I think it's going to be 50 years in April. April 6th, 1975 was when I arrived in Canada. And the other thing is I escaped being put on a plane. I was to be on a plane, and the plane ended up crashing, malfunctioned. So during that period of time, the new president, President Gerald Ford, he made a operation called Operation Baby Lift, and he was airlifting war orphans out of the country, out of Saigon. And they brought in some of the biggest cargo planes. It was the C-8 or something. It was basically so big it carries tanks, tall as a bus, carried army tanks, and they were putting as many babies as they could. There was a lot of media and even people who worked at the American Embassy were there helping escort the babies. And then it was going to be flown to, I think, Philippines, and then to the rest of the areas, U.S., Australia, maybe Canada. But last minute, a Canadian Air Force pilot offered to take anybody going to Canada, but the next day. So last minute, the woman who saved us, Naomi Bronstein, and they did a documentary, and I put it on my YouTube page, called A Moment in Time, a United Colors of Bronstein. And so they did a documentary of her putting on the Vietnamese babies on that plane. We were lucky not to go on that plane, but we were scheduled to be on that plane. So my mom, who was waiting at the airport, and all of the other moms waiting for the at the Montreal airport, they thought that we were on that plane. So when the plane took off, the rear door blew open. It malfunctioned because 2 out of the 4 locking mechanisms didn't lock. And the door blew out over the China Sea, and it crashed and split apart and went on fire, and killing, I think it was under 200, maybe about 100 and something people or babies were killed. It was like 3 floors, so just a little bit of the people on the top survived. But it was a malfunction. But they, since then, after doing research of what happened, they have corrected that by learning to do something different with the locking mechanism. I think there's a red flag that shows, so you can physically see that the locks aren't properly locked or not before going up in the air. So anyways, I'm writing a book, a memoirs, and I decided, because people kept saying, oh, it's a good ending for your book. So I decided to go for it, and I will do this test, and I'm going to do the test right on camera, and do this for the very first time. So no eating or drinking for a half an hour before, so I did that, and I got 2 swabs. I'm going to have to crunch on my teeth, bite my cheek for a bit, and then I'll swab it and then put it in here. Well, let's get this all organized. So I grew up in Canada, but this woman, she grew up in Lee Dai, her name is. I will get the information for you as well. So it's exciting. I've never done this before. Okay. And I'll tell more of my story in another video because it's so long. But I got the wristband here. I got a lot of papers, my adoption papers. And it says, to the best of our knowledge, the child was found abandoned in a village near Phnom Penh in or about January 1975, following a bombing of the village, and was taken by an Australian social worker to an orphanage in Phnom Penh, and that's the Canada House, supervised by Friends for All Children, also known as the Canada House, where Naomi Bronstein was caring for the children. In or about March 1975, all the children in the orphanage, including the child, me, were evacuated to Saigon, South Vietnam, as Phnom Penh was under siege by Khmer Rouge. A home study was prepared by the Children's Aid Society of the Regional Municipal of Halton, and Ministry of Community and Social Services approved the placement of the child with us. A photocopy, and then it says, okay, blah, 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 all this other stuff. What else? Okay, so it's a legit thing. It's a lot longer there. I will show you. I got my baby picture. My passport. Well, that was me. That was me. And then my adoption papers. Okay, so what else? I'll show you. There's a letter from one of the nurses who, I gotta write her back, but a letter, of one of the nurses. This is a picture of before they had left the Cambodian house, Canada House, in Phnom Penh, and before they went to Saigon. It says, Naomi, Dolly, and I just before the evacuation. This is March 24th, 1975. For Dolly and I, it was with great pain and heavy hearts. We had to leave this Cambodian men and women we had come to know. As horrible as it may sound, no child in diapers would have survived had we stayed. And worse is the thought of what must have happened to all the others in this photo who did stay. These are the nurses, the sisters that were also Canadian. This is me on the plane going from Cambodia to Canada. This is what the Canada House, the orphanage, looked like. This is a photo of some of the babies in the orphanage I was with, and maybe I'm in this picture. And this is a color photo of the people, the volunteers, the nurses, Canadian and Cambodian, taking care of the children in the orphanage. This is for the movie, the documentary, United Colors of Bronstein. It's on my YouTube as well. Letter, and then documents. So my family, my mom kept all this stuff. Time, Death Watch in Cambodia. And other articles. I was in the newspaper when I arrived, and I was in that documentary too. So they have other people. This is the Toronto Star. I'm going to contact them all. see if they want to get more publicity for this project of trying to reconnect more Cambodians. This girl was in my there's the two nurses in that photo, and that's not me, but that's another girl from that was in the adoption, the orphanage I was in. This is Naomi Bronstein. Okay. Now this here is my mom's friend, Sandra Simpson. She also adopted a lot of kids. And so my mom, and so did Naomi too, adopted a lot of children. And there's some more articles on Cambodia and the Vietnam War. This is a Montreal one. Yeah, this one here, I think. Well, it's a Canadian newspaper. That's me and my parents. And in the background, my brothers. Leah doing well. Leah doing just fine. So this is me and my parents. Operation Baby Lift was the name of the operation that they rescued a whole bunch of orphans. And some more photos. Okay. I was also in more newspaper articles. This one here is in French because we were first in Montreal, Canada. More stuff on Vietnamese babies here. My parents. So this is another girl who was adopted, and she was in the same group of people. Babies that I was in. So I'm going to try to see if I can contact them. Let's see what else. The whole project. Anyways, that's it. I'm going to do my test now. And yeah, you can watch. So what I'm supposed to do is chew on the cheek for a bit. When my mom kept like the wristband that I came with, the tag. So I chew on it. And then I guess the end of my story would be like finding out any results and going back to Cambodia. That would be a full circle, full journey for my book, I guess. And, you know, we'll see. I'm not sure if anybody is alive, direct family members, because of the war, but there could be a third cousin, or if I meet some more Cambodians that were adopted as well. So that will be interesting. So I chill. Yeah. And now I'm going to, maybe I should do this one separate.